What's the deal with my good peoples? I know it's been a minute. What's the deal, good peoples? We got another one. We starting this off different this time around, you feel me? This is for all my people who know we should have went to law school. Some of us, like myself, work for the defense. Others work for the prosecution. You know, let me make sure y'all can hear me real quick. You know what I'm saying? Y'all fall up in here. Fall up in here. Let me make sure y'all can hear me. That's crazy. We was closing out. Don't know how to go somewhere all that. Alright. Let me make sure y'all can hear me. You know how y'all been, you know what I'm saying? How y'all been? Y'all been cool, you know. Dad life and all that. Dad life and all that. Y'all can hear me? Y'all can hear me loud and clear? Loud and clear. Let me turn the AC off. Let's see. We're gonna get to this Nolan Wells topic, y'all. It's a lot that's been going on. Just trying to make sure y'all can hear me, you know what I mean? Make sure I don't need to go get the mic or nothing. Hold on real quick, folks. I'm gonna have the mic ready for the next episode. Don't worry, y'all. It's cool. Y'all know how we do. We ghetto, we thugging. This is episode 1 of the verdict room. You feel me? We're gonna get into this Nolan Wells case. I'm turning the AC back on since that's not the problem. And y'all forgive me, I'm thugging. I'm trying to get it right. You know, it's been like a year since I streamed and all that. I already know. But we'll get into this Nolan Wells case. I'm not gonna be biased that he's a brother. You know, we're really gonna break it down piece by piece. What happened? What didn't happen? Who's lying? Who's telling the truth? So, let me find this note. We're gonna get into it. You feel me? The young brother needs justice.
I don't really know anything about the Nolan Wells situation. Basically, his body was found after a 4th of July boat trip or boat party, and his death has fueled speculation, grief, and racial tensions. That's an understatement. So on July the 4th, Nolan Wells set out to celebrate Independence Day on a popular barrier island off Mississippi's Gulf Coast. In photos from the boat that day, 18-year-old towers above his friends, his arm casually slung around their shoulders as he smiles for the camera. But he also stands out for another reason. He appeared to be the only black man amongst the group. Now,
problem number one. Why are you the only brother? I mean, that's question number one. I ain't gonna lie. If somebody asks me to go somewhere, first thing I'm asking who all going, how many black people gonna be there. That's just me. A lot of my folks, they be like, oh, you tripping. You tripping for thinking like that. We in 2026. Exactly. It's a new day, new age. So I need to see what page niggas on, what niggas be on. If I'm the only brother in Mississippi, that's a problem.
the importance of his race depends who you're talking to, is going to depend how important that is in this case. And we really haven't got all the answers yet, but I've got some really interesting stuff to show you. So it says late that afternoon, when his friends returned to the dock, Wells was not with them. Hours later, his family reported him missing. The Jackson County Sheriff's Department has launched a search that would soon end tragically when Wells's body was recovered on the island Monday. Now investigators are appealing to witnesses on the island on July the 4th for any information about the moments leading up to his death. The fact that it happened on July 4th is very, very important for some of the more outrageous theories as to there possibly being some kind of ritual white nationalist KKK,
I don't believe in a ritual conspiracy, but I'm being biased. So let's go.
Crazy theories about why this might have happened and when it might have happened, but I'm going to get into that sort of right towards the end of the video because that stuff's getting a little bit more conspiratorial. I want to focus on the facts to begin with, and then I'll start tearing apart some of these insane theories that are going around. It says on social media, online speculation has placed Wells's death at the centre of a fierce debate over race relations in the United States. So here's what we know now. Right, and this is going to be the way they've written this is quite sensational. So the rising star sets out to mark July the 4th. Nolan Wells graduated from Ocean Springs High School in the coastal Mississippi town of Ocean Springs, just east of Biloxi. Nolan was so much more than an outstanding football player, his high school coach, Jake Bramlett, said in a statement shared with CNN affiliate WXXV. He carried himself with humility, treated others with respect, and worked hard and led by example. I've got very, very interesting stuff about his football career that I'm going to show you after I've kind of dug into this. It says after graduating, Wells enrolled in Southwest Mississippi Community College, where he was a wide receiver on their football team. Now, it was always his dream to go and play football for Mississippi, but he didn't quite end up at the exact place that he wanted. I think he wanted to go and play for Mississippi State, ended up at the Mississippi Community College at Southwest. It says, like countless Americans across the country.
Alright, so he had to be ass in football. That's what we know there. I told y'all I'm not gonna be biased. Mississippi State, ain't nobody trying to play football. His daddy went there, so I'm gonna give him that.
He set out to mark the July 4th holiday on the water. His family would later say he took a boat with friends to Horn Island, a federally protected barrier island known for pristine sands and wildlife 10 miles off the Mississippi coast. Popular destination for beachgoers, but he never made it home. So this is the state law enforcement actually in the midst of conducting their search operations, looking for Nolan Wells in Jackson County, Mississippi, and basically. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave this article here. I'm going to leave this article here, and I'm going to show you something else. So this is going around currently, okay? An interview with Nolan Wells and his teammates.
Why are his black friends coming out now? Where was y'all at for this little island boat trip? And why didn't y'all go? And why did he go?
In 2024. Now, what I think is very, very interesting is kind of this. This is going around, okay? These are apparently his friends from, Ocean Springs. These are apparently, this is what I'm hearing, these are his real friends, okay? But these are the people that he allegedly died with. Now, again, I mean,
we all got our group of white friends we hang out with. For the most part, they're good people. Have I ever been somewhere where I'm the only black guy? Maybe once or twice in college, or something like that. A wide receiver meeting, or something like that in Texas. You know what I mean?
I'm not going to make a whole racial thing about this. I don't really even, look, All I'm going to do is show you things and you can make up your own minds. That's all we're going to do, okay? These are the people he passed away with, and these are apparently his real friends that are his day one homies. Now, this is a 37-second snippet of the interview that was going around on Twitter, but I've got the full video for you here, and I'm going to give you some background about Nolan Wells from this interview that I think is going to really paint an interesting picture of how on earth he ended up doing great, playing football, staying very focused with this group of guys, but he ended up dead hanging out with this group of guys, and you guys can connect the dots yourselves, okay? But this is the full-length interview that's been going around. So in this interview, he basically says these are his real friends, these are his day ones that he spends every day with, and these are his true homie.
Where was y'all in tennis? What was they doing on the 4th of July? What was going on?
Okay, and this was when he was at Ocean Springs before he went to college, okay? This is his homies from the football team, and these are apparently his real friends that he's spending all of his time with. So I'll show you a little bit of this interview, and then you're going to get some backstory about exactly what he had going on with these folks who were his real friends.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Brick Talk. I'm Zach Carnez, the founder of Brick Enterprises.
I'm Sherrod Whitehead, co-host tonight from today's episode. I'm Will Smith, running back for Ocean Springs. Nolan Wells, RT.
Will Smith, keep my wife's name out your mouth.
And this is episode 23.
So he kind of goes on in this interview to kind of speak up a few times and basically kind of give his thoughts on his experiences playing football and hanging with these guys. That is.
We're gonna get to it. Hold on. I know y'all want to get to the good. Hold on, let's get to it.
It's July 4th, and that's the night that he ends up getting reported missing. Now, apparently, this isn't completely accurate. So what is interesting, okay, so he's partying with these guys, and allegedly, a video starts circulating that appears to show people on the beach basically having some kind of altercation prior to his disappearance. So this is kind of the clip that's been circulating and doing the rounds, and people are saying it's him having an altercation. And it says a video is circulating on TT.
Says a video is circulating on TT from Horn Island on 4th of July where you can hear arguing from a group on the beach. All right. I mean, white people, they get drunk and don't be fighting though. But if he was here, then you already know some niggas don't be getting riled up unless, you know, we about to do something, especially if he the only nigga around.
TikTok from Horn Island on 4th of July where you can hear arguing from a group on the beach.
Now, you don't know these bitch ass ads, but look, this is what we gonna do during the ads. If y'all got underdog or prize picks, underdog IHEANYI 5. IHEANYI 5. Use my promo code, and I'll start linking y'all to these parlays and moneyline bets. Let's get back to it.
It's kind of a group of people sort of gathered over here. Something's sort of going on.
Oh no, a couple of the niggas look black, huh? That nigga right there. He look black. Is that Nolan? Right there? What y'all think? Nolan's 18. It's like a bunch of grown ass men. I ain't gonna hold you. Niggas got beards. What's going on? Who's providing these children with alcohol? Let's get back to it.
There's some more people over here. But it's not entirely clear what's going on where the altercation is. They're saying that that's actually where the altercation is going on. But again, this doesn't really prove anything, but it's interesting. Sort of thinking, okay, what is actually going on here? What are we seeing? What are we missing? So it's a little bit strange, right? People are thinking, what's going on? There's some kind of altercation that's going on. Something was happening. I'm barely even really able to make it out. I'll play you this one more time and then I'll see what people are saying. everyone's all looking in that direction. You can hear someone, motherfucker. You can see people dropping an F-bomb, but we can't really tell. So now I'm going to jump forward. I'm going to try and really give you guys an accurate timeline on this as I go and not get too far ahead of myself. So I've shown you a little bit of his backstory, him playing football, him hanging out with his original day one friends.
So he's at the beach and supposedly niggas get into an argument at the beach, and all you hear is, "Give me back my phone, nigga." And he's the only nigga in sight. So Nolan has to be saying those words. Right?
One of the last pictures of him, allegedly. So it says, deceased Mississippi teen Nolan Wells.
Alright, y'all. Deceased Mississippi teen Nolan Wells may have been in a fight before his disappearance, according to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. The sheriff has asked the public for information about a possible fight involving Wells, who was last seen alive on Horn Island July 4th. A search crew found the 18-year-old's body on the island Monday. Ben Crump, we all know Ben Crump, he's like taking over for the blacks as the attorney, like the new Al Sharpton, they say. You feel me? He's gonna represent the family, shout out to Brett. And Colin Kaepernick paid for the autopsy. They're doing a separate autopsy away from Mississippi, which is pretty, we need that. We are asking anyone who was on or near Horn Island on July 4th, 2026, County Sheriff's Office, if you have observed or heard an argument, activity while he's blocking this, while on the island that day, a statement said.
Might have been in a fight before his disappearance. According to the Jackson County Sheriff's Office. The sheriff is now asking the public for information about a possible fight involving Wells, who was last seen alive on Horn Island July 4th. A search crew found the 18-year-old's body on the island. So he said, we're asking anyone who is on or near Horn Island July 4th, 2026, to contact the Jackson County Sheriff's Office if you have observed or heard an argument, disturbance, or other unusual activity while on the island that day. The Sheriff's Office is also asking for any information about interactions with or sightings of Wells, in addition to photos and videos taken at the northwest tip of Horn Island on the 4th of July. Specifically, authorities are looking for images depicting alleged altercations or containing images of or believed to include Nolan Wells. Okay? Now, what's interesting, obviously, you saw here his family reported him missing on July the 4th, and in the early hours of July 5th, his mother, Christine Wansley, began posting desperate pleas and appeals for any information about her son's location on social media. But we're now finding out that apparently, okay, it was a friend of his that was the first person to report him missing.
Yeah, that's what I found out. So a friend called around either 11 or 1. Like, yo, our boy missing, you know what I mean? Like, allegedly.
So this is now circulating after the fact, but it's building up a timeline of what really happened. It says, give me a sec. Just for the record, by the way, anybody that says, oh, you talk about these death stories for money on YouTube, bro, I'm getting nothing but adverts. I have to turn the ad blocker off, and I'm getting nothing but ads. It's the statement asking for first-hand accounts, and they've been trying to combat misinformation. I'll get to the misinformation in a minute. Oh, okay, they want 99 cents for me to give you this information. Give me a sec. So it says, one of the 3 young men who travelled by boat to Horn Island with Nolan Xavier Wells on the 4th of July was actually one of the first to report him missing that night, authorities confirmed on Thursday. So approximately 11 p.m. on July 4th, the Coast Guard was notified of a missing person near Horn Island. That seems to be before his mother alerted them. U.S. Coast Guard Petty Officer Cheyenne Bass.
So they his homies. And they called the police and didn't call his mama first, or I wonder what the steps were. Cause me, if it's my homeboy, my road dog, like, you know, we homies, we teammates on top of that. And you go missing, and you're the only person of your color here. I'm calling your mama first, bro. Hey, Nolan, we don't know what happened to Nolan. We about to call the police. We calling you first. You need to know first. Mama Wells. Huh? Huh? That's what they should have did.
Sutro said on Thursday the initial notification did not require Coast Guard assistance. Interesting. And then it says Wells's mother was the second person to report her son missing when she called the Jackson County Sheriff's Department about midnight after learning he hadn't returned home. Okay. So that would be followed basically on that night of the 4th of July when Nolan Wells' mother basically made her first Facebook post on the situation. So this is what circulated, okay? It said, updated, please be on the lookout for Nolan. He was last seen on the west tip north side of Horn Island today around 3 p.m. wearing blue shorts and sunglasses. It's unclear if he made it back to land. Please message me if you've seen him or have information about his whereabouts at or after 4 p.m. So it seems like she posted this up at 9:55 p.m. and within an hour and 5 minutes,
he was with the white shouty. The last, he he's trying to get, I don't know. I don't think, it could have been a lot. He talking to a white girl around a bunch of these white boys. As a brother, athletic brother, he probably out there, young. We all look good when we're young, you know what I mean? It could have got bad for him real quick.
That's when a friend is making it official and reporting him missing, which is very strange, very interesting, okay? It's kind of a little bit confusing. So that would then be followed by his mother the next morning on July the 5th at 4:46 p.m. saying, here's better pics from July 4th. And interestingly enough, we're seeing a bunch of these pictures of him with his new friends, okay? Not the people, the day ones that we used to seeing him with. Right?
Not the brothers.
And as it was stated in that article, one of those three guys, one of the three young men who travelled by boat to Horn Island with Nolan, was the first to report missing. Now, we don't know who, but one of these guys was the first person to report him missing at 11.
Who do we think it is, chat? Who do you think felt bad? Wasn't him. He not even sitting close to the board. He got his hand on his inner thigh. I don't know, bruh. If it came out that they got caught doing they took his phone. Some LGBTQ type-ish. What are we gonna say? I don't know, man. Who we think told that? Can't really see their eyes. I'll tell you like this. I'll tell you this much. They got on the same shades and they got on the same shades. So he was the one who probably called because he felt bad. I'm calling it now.
Yeah. Okay, and there's some interesting details in the comments. Now, I can't verify the veracity of these comments, but I think it is interesting because so many people are interested in this case. People saying it's the ringleader on the far right. Watch what I tell you. It's something about this picture. They're going to say he fell, but if you look at it hard, the guy on the left of him has his hand on his leg. The one on the right side has his hand around.
What I say? To all my people who didn't go to law school but know that you're a fucking lawyer, you're a fucking DA, you're a prosecutor, whatever side you want to be on. Trust your gut. Cause I just said that. Look at this guy, far right. This guy, they're touching, boom, boom. And he looks like one of them people.
This back, the person who took the picture did the cue to push him. Watch. That's kind of weird. He got his hand on his leg. That's low-key a little bit sus. It's a little bit domineering. But he's got his hand around his homie's shoulder as well. So should we really be reading too much into that? I don't know. Okay, he's kind of bracing him. It's interesting. He was saying the beads. Look at the beads. What's the reason? Why doesn't the one with the shaken up beer have any bead?
Okay, I take it back. So the black guy, he's hiding his beard. He's hiding his beard. That's why his hand is right there. They don't care. It's one of these guys.
I don't know. Maybe they didn't. People saying there's your answer in this picture. We've seen this play out 1,000 times. Don't act like the only one thinking this. Just curious. Were they together because these pics speaking down low vibes? The seating and pairing off with the space and the hand on the knee in each photo. The one pic has the guy's hand looking like he got 6 fingers. I don't know about that. No, it's like 6 fingers. So people are thinking,
You don't believe the 6 fingers.
that people are trying to get to the bottom of it. Now, the next day, okay, Nolan's mother provided an update saying her son was still missing, and that's kind of in the midst of basically.
Who's providing these young children with alcohol?
The Coast Guard are notified at 11 p.m. The mum basically, posts it online. She reports her son missing. She called the Jackson County Sheriff's Department about midnight, so about an hour after, the friend, one of those 4 guys, one of these guys calls the cops, calls the Coast Guard. The mum calls just after.
On July 5th at 12:26, the Coast Guard received a request from the Jackson County Sheriff's Department for search and rescue assistance. So one of those guys called. 2 days after Wells disappeared, the National Park Service ranger found his body. So after 2 days, they found his body? So after 2 days, y'all found it where they was? Like, either that shit washed up ashore or somebody dumped it. Come on, y'all. In the water off the northwestern tip of Horn Island. Wells, 18, with the
midnight, and then the Coast Guard gets a request from the Jackson County Sheriff's Department for a search and rescue mission. Okay? So
Wells, 18 of Ocean Springs, was black. He traveled to the island with 3 white boys who returned to shore without him. Let's get back to it. My bad, y'all. This happened in real time. This is live right now. For the people. Shout out to my nigga Dash. I'm gonna call you back, bro. My nigga. Hey, shout out to Dash. When I was in high school, bro, he used to come to all my games by himself or whatever. Like, what? That's really my dog. Shout out to Dash. Let's get back to it, though. Look. He traveled with the 3 white niggas. And they said he stayed behind and talked to a female. Yeah, so my bro was trying to bridge. You know what I mean? Young brother. 4th of July, he trying to get some fireworks. You know what I mean? We can't be mad at him for that.
So basically, before they find his body, and as you can see here, 2 days after the National Park Service ranger would find his body in the water, what's interesting is that at a certain point, okay, the next day, Nolan's mother would pop up and provide an update. And she says her son's still missing, but they found his phone. And she...
So moms pop up. Boom. Nolan has not been found. His father and I have his cell phone. So for friends who are seeing his location, it's because we have it. Katie has contacted me. We are currently at Horn Island. We are looking for any information other than what we already know. Please, she probably meant DM, but she said PM. You know, these aunties and X. Please PM if you have any additional information. So Katie, I guess, was the girl he was with. And we also know Katie Holmes is Becky with the good hair. Allegedly.
Posted this at 6:46 a.m. No. About Nolan's disappearance, and they would announce their own search. So, just for context, right? The United Cajun Navy is a grassroots non-profit.
Yeah, they're gonna look for the people.
Black young man, about 6'1".
I ain't gonna hold you. If he's out looking for Nolan, Nolan's was never gonna be found, brother.
180 pounds, was last seen on that north end of Horn Island. Guys, he hasn't been found. Okay, he was last talking to a girl on that north end. He went out to Horn Island with some buddies. yesterday out on the boat.
He said he was last talking to a girl on that north end. Now remember that, and we'll talk about that way later.
He's not been heard from in close to 24 hours. So guys, if you're out there fishing, if you're out there, jet skiing, doing whatever you guys are doing, keep your eyes out for Nolan. Family's going to be out there in the boat searching. We're going to try and get some air assets up there. We know there's surface assets around. Coast Guard's been notified. Local police have been notified. Guys, please keep your eyes out. Look at the poster. Look at the pictures. Let's see what we can do. Let's find this young boy. His mother's worried sick. Let's see what we do, guys. Love each and every one of you. Be safe. I hope you all still have 10 fingers and toes. Let's do work. Hey guys, good morning. Josh Gill, 5 July 2026.
So he not on shit. He just want to make sure you got 10 fingers and toes. That's all that is.
Perez is following this case for us. And Alex, great to see you. What's the latest with this?
Yeah, Stephanie, officials unfortunately say it appears we're dealing with a tragic ending in this case after beloved 18-year-old Nolan Wells disappeared July 4th after going on a boating trip with friends. Now, sadly, officials say a body...
I'd rather not discuss.
Since forever, we've hated Mondays. But it doesn't have to be like this.
Like I said, if you have Underdog or Prize Picks, use user code IHEANYI5 for picks, parlays, and money lines. You know what I mean? This episode will be sponsored by my son Jaden. You know what I mean? So the Cash App is also IHEANYI100. Let's get back to it.
Who we had conversations with. I will say this is that I don't believe any of the friends stayed.
And what did you know about the
Wait, we gotta go back. Cause I was talking shit about that man, and he found him. Let's go.
In the area, and did they provide any information to you guys?
It is an active and open investigation, so I'd rather not discuss the pieces and parts of who we had conversations with. I will say this is that I don't believe any of the friends stayed.
And what did you know about Nolan's disappearance when you first got that call? Did you know of anything beforehand?
Just basic information, stuff that I gathered off of social media, as well as information from the mother. And nothing that was super relevant to finding Nolan or to searching for Nolan. Just information that he got left on the island. Left or he wasn't there, possibly, hopefully, and as we prayed that he may have made it onto another boat. So what we do is we gather information, right? We gather as much information as possible. We then blast it out to social media. We've got a huge following, and this one went extremely viral, to ask for help. The more people that see something, they could possibly say something. So we actually, at the time of him being found, we had people in the air, we had boats on the water, we had boots on the ground, on land, on the mainland as well, looking in 3 different locations where people had said he may have been seen that day, that evening before, or that evening he came up missing. So we take into account everything, every tip, every, hey, go look here, we do that.
So he's one of the rescuers, and he basically...
All right, shout out to Brett. Let's get to the good stuff.
Where emergency responders were staging search boats. Williams, who was also on Hall Island for the 4th, but on a different boat from Wells, visited with Wells shortly before he went missing. Now, that is very interesting. So it's saying Javon Williams there on the right. It says that he actually was on the island. That's what's really interesting.
Dun, dun, dun. Nigga number 2.
Okay, he went to the island on the 4th. He was on the island, but on a different boat from Wells, and he saw him shortly before he went missing. That's very, very curious. So this is some more backstory. So several of the young men at the dock played ball with Wells in Ocean Springs. Football, basketball, baseball, they played it all. After graduation, Wells played wide receiver for the Southwest Community College Bears. Doris Hands was a grandmother to the childhood friends. Like the others, Wells called her Mama D and said that he always gave her a hug and minded his manners.
What I tell you, if that's your partner, you gonna call her Mama D, Mama Wells. You gonna, you know, these niggas. I'm telling you.
He was a good person, Hands said, loved sports and kind-hearted. He would have celebrated his 19th birthday in August. That's so sad. It really, really hurts, said Hands, who has awaited word since Saturday evening. When Wells failed to return from the island after the first day and no contact, I expected this. Wells headed to Horn Island Saturday with friends. His best friend, 17-year-old Javon Williams, said he was supposed to be on the same boat, but it filled up. Williams rode out on a different boat, but he saw Wells on the island. He believes he saw Wells for the last time after 4 p.m. Saturday. So he was supposed to be on the boat with these guys, but he wasn't in the end. The boat was full. It filled up. This doesn't look like a very big boat. This looks low-key dinghy, more like a dinghy than a boat to me, but I'm no boat dinghy expert.
That should look like a life rafter.
So this is showing the sort of boat that takes off from the Lake Mars boat launch, and these aren't huge boats, to be honest. They're not huge. I mean, I'd be nervous. But here's where we start to get to some of these interesting details. Wells visited with a girl, Williams said, but he also chatted with other friends in the crowd. As soon as we got out there, Williams said, he told me that he loved me. Wells always had Williams' back, and if somebody talked bad about Williams, Wells stuck up for his friend. Both young men left their phone.
I fuck with bro. He was catching all back phase for him.
Was on the boat that Wells rode out on. Williams later retrieved his phone, while Wells' mother found her son's phone through location services, Hans said. So here's the thing. To be fair to these guys, all right, I think a lot of people have drawn conclusions from the fact that, oh, well, how did they get the phone? Why they got the phone? How comes the mum's got the phone back? Okay, sure, I know we're all really looking for whoever did this, but implications, Nolan was black, and all of his friends' picture on the boat were white, but we do.
Alright, so they just sticking with the race shit, right? Let's go to Ben Crump. Let's see what Ben Crump is talking about.
There ain't making too much sense to it.
Y'all don't.
Our neighbors are coming over.
Yeah. And like I said once again, this verdict room is also sponsored by Cash App. If you would like to donate, it would be IHEANYI100. If you have Underdog, it will be IHEANYI5. Let's get back to it.
And she said he went and got on the boat. They said he didn't get on the boat. So which is it? And all we know is Nolan is dead.
The Wells family, how is Nolan's parents, how are they coping in this moment?
Lizzie, they are in disbelief. They are in disbelief. You know, Nolan was to report back on Monday after the 4th of July to his college. That's when fall practice started. He did phenomenal. He was looking forward to getting an NIL deal with Division I football. He had everything going for himself, and his family just...
My boy had that NIL. He was going to get some chili. Oh.
Can't believe that he's gone.
So it's a really, really sad situation, but what is very interesting is that Ben Crump would then eventually go on, and now we'd start hearing more details about his cell phone. Now, even though I would give some benefit of the doubt to say, well, okay, if the cell phone was left on a boat and then it was handed off to a friend who got back, maybe got back, a good friend, a nice friend, handed the phone over, at least what I heard from that last article. But now we're going to hear from Ben Crump that allegedly there were messages that were deleted from the phone before it was passed on to the family. But
messages deleted? Who deleted them, though? We thinking far right. Far right has deleted. He's looking guilty, y'all.
we don't know who did that. We don't know if it was the guys that came on the boat originally. We don't know if it was, you know, his friends that were essentially, you know, with him. These friends that kind of, you know, one of them was made it to the island, hung out with him, allegedly was the person that handed the phone back. We actually don't know. But what is crazy is if there are deleted messages from that incident, it doesn't add up. Now, I wonder, was the phone taken off the boat and some of the messages that were sent or tampered with On the island, did he go to the boat, grab the phone, text someone, talk to some stuff about what was going, put it back? Or did he get on the boat, send some messages, and then he fell off the boat, left the phone behind? That's what doesn't make sense, but this is very suspicious.
The guys on the boat, the guys on the boat, they said Nolan stayed, but they took his cell phone. That's not adding up to them. The fact that then when the family gets the cell phone back, Lindsay, they're saying they are trying to understand why they're deleted messages. And so it's very concerning to them.
And we know that Nolan was.
Right.
Where he was discovered. It was on the northwestern end of Horn Island.
Alright. Let's see what he's talking about right here.
Is this?
What I mean? And once again, this is sponsored by Underdog. Use code IHEANYI5 for your parlays, your money lines, and all your because it's not betting. You know what I mean? Let's get that.
I'll then drink.
Behind the scenes, but frontman, as always, is a great Todd Michaels.
Alright, let's see what they're talking about.
Having fun, who knows, probably having a few beverages or other stuff, and maybe something went horribly wrong. Another piece that really did stand out to me was the fact that he was the only black guy in the group, right? He was the only the person of color in that group. And so there was in the back of my mind some thought to, boy, I hope we're not going to find out later on down the road that played some sort of role in his demise.
Yeah, me too. So my first take was pretty similar to that. I hadn't seen photos of the case yet or anything, and when this first came in, I wish I could remember the case I just covered on Nancy Grace's water. I tell you, when I do what I do and we do what we do on the show, I'm always looking for those strange and unusual wobbles, right?
Yeah.
And getting off and talking to a girl, that's not a great wobble to me. But boat taking on water, that's a little bit of a wobble for me. The reason why I say that is if you look across, the spectrum of people when they go. We used to have our own little Bayliner boat we kept on a lake.
All right, so say I'm not being biased. He thinks he drowned, and we gotta leave that up for debate, or not debate, science. Autopsy comes out.
Here in Virginia, we went out with our kids every weekend with it during the summers, and so I know this kind of community well that people did. I can tell you, out of the hundreds and hundreds of times that I took out my small boat with a plug in the back and was out on Lake Anna, that's a lake out here in Spotsylvania, Virginia, in Louisa County, and I never knew.
He says, in my college age group, we would never have left someone alone like that, male or female. I find that
Let's see what Don is talking about, man.
So this is a story that is mainly coming from, my glasses are so crooked. What did I do to my glasses? I just have to use these. Coming from social media and then from streaming. And so folks are now realizing, I told you I was at an event on Saturday.
Let's get to it, Don.
Along when they said when Wyatt told me it was in his truck, it took him so long to get the phone back to me.
Oh, wait. This is somebody's parent that was there or something?
Phone. And she spoke out to my, is this from the same person's phone? No. This from Tracy? This is Tracy.
This is Tracy, I believe,
Yeah.
No, this is Javon's mom.
Javon's mom.
Oh, his homeboy, the one that was catching backfade.
And Javon's mom
Okay.
is the mom who went.
So remember, Javon was his homeboy. He was the one that they thought was there also, just on a different boat. And he said he seen him at Ford. That was the last time he seen him though.
To retrieve the phone. And she spoke out to my dear friend and former colleague, Laura Coates, last night. Watch.
Christine called me and told me, hey, where are the boys? Nolan hasn't been heard from since such and such time. Where are your boys? I said, well, Javon is with his girlfriend, and I just spoke with Jalen, and they are headed to downtown, which I was literally getting ready to get in the shower to go downtown as well. She said, well, Nolan hasn't. So I instantly called with Christine on the phone, Javon. Javon said no, he hadn't seen Nolan since early on the island. And he was like, what? Are y'all serious? I was like, yes. And so Christine intervened in the conversation and said, Nolan has not been heard from since he left the island. So Javon was like, well, that's when I seen him. I haven't seen him since then. Again, everybody goes their separate ways. So I then hang up from Javon because obviously there's nothing he can say to tell me anything. So then Jalen, I call him. Jalen did not answer the phone. Christine again is on the phone. Jalen did not answer the phone. LeBaron, he didn't answer the phone. I called LeBaron, which is their other friend, LeBaron Brumfield.
There's 3 black folk.
He said Jalen is in the gas station. Hold on. So he said, hey Jalen, Mom on the phone. So he was like, Jalen, what's up, Mom? What's going on? I was like, hey, have y'all heard from Nolan? They said no. We have not heard from Nolan.
Well, where was the phone?
So I said, well, okay, so that's when we started tracking the phone. Well, for Christine, it said one place, but for them on Snapchat, it showed another place. So that's the place we went to. And it showed that everybody that was in the house, it was like a lot of people there. Like it was, I'm not familiar with all the kids. I only know like one there. But it showed that the phone was at what a lot of people were at. So that's how we knew where to go to. We went there. They were all there. They were sitting there, lights off, watching TV.
Did they immediately give you the phone? Because during that phone,
it took about 15. They did. They gave me the phone, but it took about 15 minutes to get the phone because
They wasn't trying to get that phone up, y'all. They was in there deleting messages. They had bro password. He probably didn't have a passcode on this shit.
I even asked, I'm like, did y'all have to walk back to Horn Island to get the phone, or like where's the phone? Because it took so long when they said when Wyatt told me it was in his truck. It took him so long to get the phone back to me.
Wyatt.
So, when they brought the phone back.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Yashima. I want to hear that.
When they brought the phone, after I said something about it, he was like, well, she's going to get out. Who's going to get it? He's like, the girl's going to get the phone.
Up here permanently. So I have been in those spaces where I was a kid, mind you. I was very, very young.
Hold on, my boy.
Go ahead, Reese.
Yeah. Well, and see that video, which at this point went over.
Phone or whatever it is. Here it is.
You know, this friend of his, Trayston, also told ABC that that video people have been talking about that was said to show some sort of altercation, it did not involve Nolan. He said it was actually him yelling in the video, and that you and a family member were holding him back because he'd been in a fight. Is that accurate?
Yes, ma'am. We weren't calming Trayston down. In that video where he said, give me my effing phone back, it sounds like him, so I'm pretty sure that he was right on that, but...
Yeah, so that part did not turn out, and people, what we were saying from the beginning, I don't know if you remember this, Daniel, maybe you guys were watching when we said, well, that's kind of hard. We don't know where that's coming from. We don't know who it is on the boat. And that turned out to be the case. It was important that we said that, just as it was important about this picture. Andy, I don't know if you have a picture, the pool picture, if you do, to point out that the pool picture has not been verified. And to Daniel's point,
All right, so the pool picture that supposedly somebody posted the day after thinking he was still alive, that ain't been verified yet either, y'all.
To see the investigation play out. However, we also need to keep pushing them for transparency, as Clay said, every single day. That's why I said, if you're not up on this thing, hire you a crisis PR person. The taxpayers, I'm sure, will be fine to pay for it. And get this shit together, because there should be and update every day or at least periodically, right? Like this photo that came out, people were saying, oh, look, that's proof that he was alive on the 5th and whatever. It's like, that's when they posted it. That's not necessarily the date that.
Yeah. Let's see what they're talking about. Okay.
That to me is a bizarre statement. I do want to say
this much time is not a
rush. Boy, you better get to it, Sheriff of Mississippi. What's the sheriff's name?
rush, so Clay.
Yeah, there's a sense of urgency in police. That's the whole reason why the first 48 is a whole ass series. Like, you mean to tell me that it's the first 14 days? No, that's not a show. It's called the first 48. And there's already valuable time that was lost if something, a criminal happened to him, because people were focused on just finding him. People were working under the assumption that he was alive. Clay and I had a
is active. It's ongoing.
He wasn't able to confirm much. Ledbetter did confirm that interviews have been conducted with witnesses, and the department has been in contact with other departments and agencies, including the FBI. The investigation has benefited from information brought by the community.
This recent week, we've got a lot of valuable information that has come from the public.
This nigga's name is John Ledbetter. You gotta do some research on, bro. How do you get a last name like that?
We put out a call to action last week for that information, and it has been very productive for us.
Many are preparing for the return of Wells' autopsy. However, toxicology testing is conducted by outside laboratories, and the analysis and review process can take several weeks. A spokesperson for the Mississippi Department of Public Safety states every case is unique and deserves a thorough review. Therefore, cases cannot all be handled the same way or in the same timeline. While theories circle social media, those who are close to Nolan are still waiting for closure, as one friend spoke in an ABC interview.
I think everybody needs to let the investigation continue and let the facts be shown. And if the fact shows that somebody harmed Nolan, I hope that there is justice brought. And if it was a tragic accident and somebody did speak up, I still hope justice is brought. The facts is the only thing that's going to overturn that. So.
Yeah, we need the facts. You know what I'm saying?
So this guy right here, as you see in the middle,
we need the facts.
I tell him we love him, and we know he's with God, and that we will not forget him or the joy that he's brought to us.
Was there ever a moment that you thought that if something went down, if your son needed these friends, that the loyalty would be questionable because he was the only black person in this circle that he was in this day?
This is the thing. Regardless of the color of anyone's skin, your hope is that the people your children call friends will be there. Like, that is any parent's hope, right?
What do you make of the explanation that it was because of a pump malfunction that they left?
I would not leave anyone else's child on an island. I would not leave anyone else's child stranded.
Yeah.
You give all the excuses.
Come on, Pops.
So you do not leave someone else's child anywhere.
You started to talk about Nolan, and you said was, and then you corrected yourself and said is.
Yes.
Tell me why.
Still early in grief, right? So we're kind of back and forth. Before we came here, it was our youngest looks just like him. So just calling him Nolan and just still feeling his presence. So he may not physically be here, but he's still here with us. I would not be able to sleep at night. I mean, I can't right now, definitely we can't, but I definitely would not be able to.
That's sad, John. That's sad.
Nolan Wells.
No.
Here's 3 examples of wrongful termination.
And this is brought to you by, you already know. Come on.
Wells' friends caught lying after new admission timeline exposed. And guess what? I didn't trust they ass in the first place. I really, in my heart...
Lines from the accused. On Sunday, another friend of Wells, Tracy Shepard, would for the first time speak about the day in which he revealed that he was actually the person in the viral video at Rhode Island heard yelling. In a new interview with Rolling Stone, Shepard would go on to admit that he wanted to fight someone after they would comment on he and his girlfriend arguing. I told him he needed to mind his own business. From the Rolling Stone article, it reads, Shepard says the exchange became heated.
Shepard said, I told him he needed to mind his own business. Shepard, 20 years old, told me Saturday, a week after the disagreement, Shepard says the exchange became heated and that he and the other men ended up getting into a physical altercation. Shepard's uncle, who had raised him like a father, told the nigga uncle was there. What is this, old and young? What are you doing? Told Shepard to get out of the water and onto his boat so they could head back home. Shepard complied, but once he got on the boat, he changed his mind and he wanted to go back. He was ready for all the smoke. He wanted all the smoke. Shepard's friends had by that point begun defending him back on shore. At least he had his homies with him, unlike Nolan. Damn. Around this time, another adult on a nearby boat started filming the video.
And that he and the other man ended up getting into a physical altercation. Started filming the video. Is that it looks to have exposed lies and inconsistencies.
Remember, we don't trust this nigga right here.
Whom he traveled to the island with, saying that they last saw Nolan at 3 p.m. that day. If you can recall, the video that captured the aftermath of Shepard's confrontation would end up being captured at 4:01 p.m. And in this interview with Rolling Stone, Shepard would confirm that Nolan was actually in the water out of view on camera at that time, as well as noted in this new interview that he was around Nolan and friends at 3:30 p.m., meaning Nolan was still very much near everyone else, despite his friends reporting to police that they last saw him at 3 p.m.
Okay, to keep y'all up to speed, Shepard got into an argument with somebody who tried to check him for arguing with his own girl. Typical
frame hanging out in the water. Now, according to official reports, in a statement made by one of the young man's stepmother, who happens to also be a judge, Ashley Cole, would state her stepson and friends would leave the island around 4:30 p.m.
So one of their stepmamas is a judge. Who you think mama it is, y'all? Drop it in the comments.
Two issues with their boat. In her statement, she would say, Warren was interviewed by the Jackson County Sheriff's Department and cooperated fully. He saw Nolan last at around 3 p.m. on July 4th. They left around 4:30 p.m. when the boat was taken on water, and they had an issue with the bilge pump. Nolan made a decision to stay on the island and return inland later with another group of friends. Now, what's interesting about this statement is that a leaked direct message from Warren's biological mother several days before to a Facebook user looks to contradict his statement by his stepmother. To note, Warren's biological mom's message would take place before Nolan's body was found, in which it was only thought he was only a missing person, making it appear for some that this new changing of times and separating them to last seeing Nolan at 3 p.m. is part of a cover-up. Warren's actual mother would go on to write, I am Warren's mother, the woman you have...
Okay, so the stepmama is the judge. The real mama obviously don't like the bitch, because she like, nah, I'm going to give my own press statement. She said, good evening, Mr. Roll Down. Nigga's name is Lowdown. First off, that's crazy. I am Warren's, that can't be his name. Boogie Lowdown can be his name. It says, I am Warren's mother, the woman you have been talking about on Facebook and posting pictures of our family. I'm here to tell you that we all, she probably wouldn't say all love Nolan, and are deeply distraught. Your information is not correct, and I ask you to please stop posting about Warren and our family. My son did not ride out with him, nor did he come back with him. What? Now she's saying this son wasn't even with Nolan.
Been talking about on Facebook and posting pictures of our family. I did not ride out with Eve, but Nolan wanted to stay with the girl, and their boat was parked next to his. He was insistent about staying with this girl. White asked him several times to please get on the boat, and the people heard him. My son loves him and would never, in 1 week, ask for him to get on. He said he wanted to stay, and Wyatt's boat started to fill with water. His boat ended up breaking down and was happened. And now 3 p.m. as stated by Warren's stepmom, as well as a leaked message from Warren's actual mom that now places Nolan speaking with his friends about leaving around 4:35 p.m. Again, not 3 p.m. It is under these conditions that speculation has grown and leaves the question of what happened. Now, according to a Facebook post that was made at the top of Nolan's disappearance, the young lady whom he was talking to's sister allegedly looked to have filled in more of what took place. According to her post, as Nolan's friends pressured him with ending his conversation with her sister so he can ride back with them. Katie had a conversation and assumed that Nolan was getting ready to get on the boat he came out in. Katie made it home because she was on another boat and with different people. Katie was safe because my brother and her sister-in-law went and got her. Katie assumed the friends telling him to get on the boat wouldn't have left him. Me and my family have talked, called, and are sending up prayers to bring Nolan home. We have given all the answers we can give to his mom and authorities.
Old Spice Gentleman's Body Wash, full of vitamin.
So basically, the girl that he was talking with, she like, hey, I ain't had nothing to do with this. I thought his boys was coming back. I left skedaddle. So he left her somewhere from getting back onto their boat or something. My boy disappeared. And we don't know. So somewhere between 5:30 and 6:30 or 7 it had to happen.
Now, do y'all see every little...
By Warren's mother to hide that they knew Nolan was in the water to get back on the boat. Now, if this isn't the case and only speculation, then according to these statements and new interview, Nolan's friends would not see him for close to 2 hours, despite him still being documented with being on Horn Island shore with Shepard and others at 3:30 p.m. and later at 4 p.m., right after Shepard's confrontation. A part of that theory, one of the biggest questions that come up is, why was the Coast Guard contacted at 11 p.m. by his friends? Leading some to speculate that they knew Nolan was in the water when they last saw him, because for some following the case, it makes no sense that his friends would conclude Nolan was in serious danger and is in possible need of search and rescue, when according to them, was last seen safely talking to a girl. To note, Nolan's father would state that he remembers seeing people camping on the island overnight when he searched for Nolan the following morning, meaning there was never a moment when the island was empty, meaning Nolan could have used another person's phone on the island if he was stuck. So what did his friends suspect?
Damn, so if he did, somebody would have seen him. Regardless. Damn, y'all. This shit done got deep. This shit done got deep, y'all. But look, I'm gonna be back for part 2. This is episode 1 of the Verdict Room, y'all. And we trying to stay biased, you know, but it's looking like it's leaning to one side. Like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll be back with part 2.